Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 508. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
The swag is here. Oh my goodness. Ladies and boys and gents and gentlemen, all alike. This is nice.
Peep the merch.
Oh my. If you're not watching on YouTube, get it figured out, please.
Peep the merch.
It's in. Here's the gray one. We don't have the white one yet. It's still on the way.
The road. Look at that. The road.
Oh my.
The road uni.
Swaggerelli.
We got the curveball snapback. The don't go chasing.
This thing might be the deal of the century right here.
The green underbrim. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah. Get my ugly mug close to the camera.
How about that? Look at that. Sharp.
That's nice. It does come flat bill. You got to do a little work, but that's all right. That's how you know it's a good bill. It's going to stay. Look at us, man. Just upgrading. New year.
That looks good. That looks
New
real
swag.
good. That's about the only positive thing going on right now because
Pretty much.
I mean, it's February.
Pretty much.
It's February, which means, there's going to be Major League Baseball played this month, but
Supposedly.
there is nothing going on. So much so that we're headlining this episode with the signing that happened multiple days ago. I'm just going to go ahead and out ourselves. People
We're going to be transparent. That's why we're here.
We're headlining this episode with a deal that happened on Thursday for a 40-year-old pitcher who will probably see the mound for half of the year when it's all said and done this year. So that's the state of free agency. But you know what? We're gonna make it. We're gonna have a good time. We got a draft.
Best believe there's a draft.
We got a draft on deck. The people are loving the drafts, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
I love that they love it because I love it.
I have a bone to pick with the people, by the way, on the results of the votes because if last draft was not an indication that I just managed to wipe the floor and the people couldn't see that, then I don't know what else I can do.
What are you saying occurred? What happened exactly?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was monitoring the results. And now that I'm actually checking the poll on the IG story right now, and it seems like people caught some sense. So I think I'm in good shape, but we're going to need to maybe address that later in the show because these polls should not be this close, especially when you look at last draft. Anyway, let's just get right into it because I want to talk some draft. I want to do some draft. I want to talk some draft. I want to win some draft. As I mentioned, Max Scherzer, 40 years old. In agreement on a 1-year, $15.5 million contract with the Blue Jays.
Sure.
Yeah, that's about it. So let's do this draft. No, look. So you've got a 40-year-old arm here who is more than likely going to be slotting in as your fourth or fifth arm in the rotation. Correct? Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, Gosman 1, Barrios 2, Bassett 3.
And then Bowden Francis
4, Manoah and Max Scherzer interchanging. I don't know if Manoah remains in the picture moving forward. I don't really.
I'm going to go ahead and take my chances with a 40-year-old Max Scherzer over an Alek Manoah. I said what I said. I'm not taking it back.
I do concur. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, look, we were on some of these teams about, having zero movement, not doing anything. This is something. This is something. $15 million flyer. I don't know. I can't imagine too many Canadians purchasing a 1 year 18 to 21 start Max Scherzer jersey. But you never know. So good for the Blue Jays getting a little something that's available.
Who do you
it's
think
out there?
You think you're going to see more Manoah jerseys in the crowd this year, or more Scherzer jerseys?
I think more
that's an
Manoah
interesting
just because
question.
of like the carryover from a few years ago.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to be seen dead
You're not
wearing
gonna
that
rock
jersey,
that.
right?
You're not going to rock that. It's
Right?
tough. It's hard to say. He's not. Yeah, it's been a big disappointment, big fall off. It's been rough. But I don't know, man. Like, I can't be super negative about them making some movement, doing a little something.
He's coming off a year, Scherzer that is, where he made just 9 starts, went 2-4 with a 3.95. Didn't make his first start of the season until June 23rd, coming off of a surgery to repair a herniated disc, which I don't know if you've ever had that. I haven't had that, but that does not sound like a pleasant time.
How do you get it unherniated?
How
does one get a hernia? How does a disc become herniated? And how do you unherniate that disc?
Probably a surgery.
You just
to unherniate it.
You just push it back in that slot.
I tell you what, being on this side of 30. I'm quickly learning.
We could learn about a herniated disc.
No. I'm not putting that out there. I'm not putting that in the out there for that to manifest.
It's in the realm of possibility.
I'm not putting that out there in the universe. What I am gonna say though is, being on this side of 30, I'm quickly realizing just how much your day can be thrown off the track.
Sure.
If you even have the slightest pain in your back.
Sure.
I mean, there are a few things that can ruin a day. I mean, life could be good. You could have just gotten a bonus. The family's healthy. The family's happy. But I tell you what, if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed with a little bit of a tweak in the back, none of that matters.
Could set you back.
Pun intended. Nothing will do that to you like some back pain.
Yeah.
Unreal. So I feel for Scherzer. But, pun intended, he's not going to have that weight on his back that he has to really carry any sort of load, because I don't think there's going to be much expectation. I mean, sure, if you're going to give a guy $15.5 million, there's some expectation that you're going to at least have to take the ball, which, as we talked about, has been a little bit of a question mark with Scherzer, given the nature of his injuries the last handful of years. But for him, your primary goals should just be to take the ball, to stay healthy, to shore up the back end of that rotation. And if nothing else, if you fall short on those goals, just be a presence in that pitching room, be a presence in that clubhouse. And teach these guys what they need to. I mean, you put Scherzer and Bowden Francis in the same room. I mean, that's a wealth of knowledge that he should be taking advantage of. And like I said, if he goes out there and just falls flat, if the back just becomes an issue, if the elbow starts barking, okay, then just be the Max Scherzer, the old sage Max Scherzer that I'm certain he's capable of being. And maybe you're not going to bring $15.5 million worth of value in that sense, but you'll still be bringing value, which I think is important for the Jays.
Yeah. I mean, I think I got to give a little more credit to their offseason. Like, if you run down the list, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, Max Scherzer's the cherry on top. But the addition of Jeff Hoffman, which a little bit of back and forth on his physical. There were some teams that kind of backed off. So I'm interested to see if teams were correct or incorrect about that.
If he does stay healthy, though, I think we could be looking at this at the end of the year as a very, very underrated move.
Sneaky good ad. The trade of Andres Jimenez, Anthony Santander, Max Scherzer. I think there's a lot of teams around the league that would be fairly happy with that offseason.
Well, let's not forget, they've got, call it 2 weeks. I believe Vladdy set a deadline. He essentially informed the team, look, I think what he said was that you've got until the start of spring pitchers and catchers, like the 17th, I think was the date he gave.
For an extension?
To make an extension happen. So if they're done externally, they still may not be done internally. So, I mean, if they could somehow, which I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Vladdy wants to be in Toronto anymore. I've been saying that for a number of weeks and months now, even at this point. But if for whatever reason you're able to make something work, locking in Vladdy for however long, going back to your point of this being a respectable offseason, I think that would hold true. I mean, I think it holds true now, but if you can lock Vladdy in.
If you get that done, this is an A- offseason if you lock him down long term.
And let's not forget
an A- on that.
Let's not forget, name we talked about recently, Bo Bichette. If he has a bounce back, like the Blue Jays, I know we've sort of waffled on them a little bit this offseason, given
we haven't pancaked, that's for sure. It's definitely been more waffle than pancake.
Yeah, definitely more waffle than pancake. But it was just one of those scenarios where they're just trying to throw money at anybody and everybody, and they're finally starting to get their feet on the ground and starting to catch a little bit of traction in that sense. So yeah, I mean, when it's all said and done, once opening day arrives, we could be looking at this as a very momentous offseason for the Jays and their immediate future.
You gotta have things go right. They gotta have things go right to compete in the AL East. You gotta have Gausman be back in that Cy Young conversation, like he has the stuff to do. You gotta have Barrios he's gotta have 1 year where it was like, all right, this was worth it. This trade was worth it. Bassett at this point has just got to chew innings. If you have, one more good year out of George Springer, like there's a lot that needs to go right, but it's not like crazy to see it happening. It's not crazy to consider that this team could compete.
Not to steal any thunder from our upcoming hot takes and predictions, our annual hot takes and predictions episode, but given the state of the offseason for the Blue Jays that we're talking about right now and sort of dissecting, if this was it, say the Vladdy extension doesn't happen, which really doesn't hold much relevance to this question anyway, but where do you slot the Jays in at this moment? If the season started tomorrow, if the rest of the American League East has done what they're going to do, and not another move was made, which I don't think is the case.
I don't think it's the case.
Elsewhere in that division, I think there's maybe some trades that could trickle in, and then obviously you still got some elite names out there, free agent wise, that could find their way to the division. But if it started tomorrow, where do you slot the Jays in?
Above the Rays. I think the offense will be better than what the Rays currently have going on. I think their pitching right now looks to be in better shape than the Orioles. And if you have bounce back years, if you had good years out of that offense, I think the Jays offense could compete with an Orioles offense. But I think I still give the edge to the youth. So I'm going to give them the 4 spot.
I was kind of flirting with that 3rd spot, but even though I'm down on Baltimore's pitch rotation specifically right now, I still give the advantage. I think that lineup can still.
They can still bang, and those guys aren't even in their prime yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think right now they're slotted at 4, but
I think there's a significant gap between 4 and 5. And
right,
a tighter gap between 3 and 4.
But this whole scenario is based on if the season started tomorrow. If you somehow make something happen for Alonso,
Or Bregman,
or if you go out and if the waiting game between Bregman, the Red Sox, and even the Astros, and throw the Tigers in that mix, if that all goes stale,
mm-hmm.
and the Blue Jays sweep in and grab Bregman, or like I said, Alonso,
mm-hmm. Yeah, we can start having a more serious conversation about.
I think we're comfortably looking at the bare minimum, third in the division.
Yeah.
Interesting place to be. But the Scherzer move, it got me thinking, and I put out a TikTok on it actually, and was received shockingly well. It was just a thought that I had that I wanted to put out into the universe. But people seem to really latch on.
Hanging out on the driver's seat.
Hanging out in the car on my lunch break. But the thought that I put out there, as I was thinking,
do you eat alone in your car?
Oh yeah, dude, it's glorious. Have you ever done that?
All the time. I just thought I was the only one.
You set your phone up, watch a show.
Absolutely.
Nobody's bothering you, because nothing is
Delightful.
worse. Nothing is worse than taking your lunch break and you're clearly sitting at your, like if you are eating at your desk, you're sitting there, you're very clearly eating lunch, and people come up to you and they're like talking projects and to-do lists. I'm like,
did you see that email? I'm like, no, I didn't.
No.
I was in my car.
I'm looking at this sandwich actually. But yeah, the car.
Little recline after you crush the Sammy.
Quick little power nap.
Turn the show up a little bit, or turn it down for a little nap.
Beautiful.
Good for you. I thought I was alone in that camp. Makes me feel better.
No, you and I no, but the thought that I put out there as I was thinking about the Scherzer acquisition, I was thinking in the same vein, the recent Verlander 1-year deal. I'm sitting there going, we're looking at a time that is rapidly approaching where the top 10 strikeout leaders list, like all time, will be frozen in time forever. Because as it stands right now, you're gonna have Verlander and Scherzer, and I mentioned in the video, like it's one can assume that these guys are just gonna ride out 1-year deals for as long as teams are willing to pay them and as long as they're willing to pitch, because they've had their history of injuries, and that even if guys feel as though they're capable of continuing their career, they don't want to push their body to a point where it's going to affect their long-term health and quality of life. So it's very possible that even if a guy like Scherzer or Verlander feels as though mentally he would be capable of continuing, that physically they just don't want to do it. So you can imagine
a year younger.
Yeah. But I mean, you can imagine that those two runs will be ending rather shortly. But as it stands right now, they're going to be sort of duking it out to see who finishes 10th. And then after that, you've got Kershaw, who let's just go ahead and assume is not going to crack the top 10, because, I mean, we've been talking about potential retirement for Kershaw for the last
it's just body-wise.
3-4 years.
Body, I don't think he gets to 40. I don't even think he gets to 38.
I mean, people were talking about his retirement after the 2020 title. Like, oh, what a way to go out. And here we are heading into the 2025 season. Yeah. So let's just go ahead and say that's not going to happen. And then
he's currently sitting at 21 with 2968 strikeouts. So he's in 21st place for that.
And then after that, you've got Sale, who's 35. He's 49th on the list at 2,414. So, I mean, if say he goes to 40, which I don't think he is, because if you recall, they were asking him after winning the Cy Young that he was close to retiring. Like, he was on the verge of retiring before deciding to come back. and give it a go, and then goes out and wins a Cy Young. So even if you got 1 or 2 more years of dominance from Chris Sale, like we've seen in years past, I don't see that stretching until he's 40. So Sale's not really an option. And then after that, Garrett Cole is really it. That's really it.
Yep. Charlie Morton is next, just 82nd. He's 40. Lance Lynn after that, 37. Yu Darvish, 37. And they're way down there. They barely cracked 2,000 strikeouts. You're right, dude. I mean, I do think it really depends on next year's health and how many starts they're going to make. You can't chalk these guys up for 200 strikeouts a year anymore. If Verlander can sneak 120, 140 strikeouts, he moves into like a very much safer 8th place. You know what I mean? And then Scherzer can potentially sneak into 10. So you may see a point where like a Walter Johnson from the 9 spot is bumped out. But yeah, I can't go Kershaw. I definitely can't. Garrett Cole is a maybe. He is definitely a more of a strikeout pitcher. I still feel like he kind of holds on to that like old school starter mentality that he wants to go as long as he can in games. He's 33.
I mean, these are all maybes, but when I was looking at this list, I'm like, Garrett Cole, of the options available, seemed like the most certain pick. No?
I feel like he gets there. I feel like he gets to 3,000 strikeouts. I just don't know if he gets in the top 10.
I mean, because even if Garrett Cole pitches till he's 40, that's what, 6-7 years.
Let's chalk him up for 170 strikeouts over 8 years. That's 1,360.
So 1,360 plus 2,251.
I guess over almost 3,600 strikeouts. That would be,
which would put him on the back end of the top, or the bottom half
mid-range,
of the top 10,
like 6, 7, 8 range.
Yeah, so I
think he could get in there.
And that might those estimates may be a little ambitious, but I mean even a notch down, I feel like he safely gets in. But the bigger picture here is just that with the way that the game is changing, it's going to be interesting to see what other statistical categories get locked in, because wins, who, I mean, say what you will about the statistical category of wins. It's rapidly losing value if it hasn't already lost complete value. Like it doesn't matter as much as it used to, and it makes sense as to why that's the case. But you look at wins not being much of a factor. You look at
I'm looking at this hits list. I don't think that's moving.
Where are we
I
at
don't
on
think
the
it's moving.
Where are we at on the hits list?
Brother, the closest active hits list guy is Freddie Freeman in 164th place.
That's insane.
After 15 years in the league. He's currently 34 years old. A little over 2,200 hits. 2,200 hits. Jose Altuve down to 177 on the list. He's 14 years in the league. Andrew McCutchen is 208th on the list.
Albert Pujols was the last. He's literally 10th. He was the last to crack that top 10 list, and I don't think that list is changing.
And I don't think it's changing. Like the mentality of giving guys a shot has drastically changed to where it's let them get in the league earlier. Let's sign these guys to a younger, cheaper contract at 22, 23, 24 years old. And then at that point, the way the league is going, like, most of these guys aren't going to hit a big time contract at 33 whenever that first contract expires. Like, I don't see much value happening around a 34 to 37-year-old hitter. enough to where they can stay in a lineup and have the opportunity to get 140, 150 knocks in a season. Like, those days are just gone. Those guys have quickly become role players, or they're still in the lineup because they have some pop left and they're not rolling out 150, 160 hits anyway.
Right.
You're hoping for 25, 30 home runs out of those types of guys, i.e., Paul Goldschmidt, right? Like, you're not looking at these guys to put up hits. And much less playing. Look at the top 10, dude. I'm not going to go names. I'm just going to tell you the number of years, number of seasons these guys had to play to be in the top 10. 24 seasons, 23, 22, 20, 27 seasons, 21, 23, 22 years in the league. Those days are done.
The league's getting younger, and you're seeing these guys get shipped out. The turnover is going to become much more
100%.
real. You're not going to see guys play into their 40s.
The two names that I'm looking at here that played less than 20 years was Ichiro. He played 19 seasons. Rod Carew, Lou Brock, 19 seasons. Wade Boggs. You're talking guys that are in the 20s to 31st ranking in the overall hit category. The hits list is toast. It's done. Not just that aspect, but at the way the game is valued, and the way the home run and the three outcomes have now affected the hitter's approach. Strikeouts don't matter to a hitter anymore. That hit list is 100% being untouched.
Well, what about this name? What about that name? People ask in the comments on this TikTok that I'm referencing. I'm seeing a lot of people throughout the name. Like, there's a comment here. Paul Skeens is our last hope. Tarek Skubal's name I saw thrown out there. Spencer Strider. Look, the issue is phenomenal pitchers, great power, punch out, strikeout type pitchers. Yeah. The issue is Spencer Strider, for example, already 2 Tommy Johns under his belt.
Yeah.
I would never wish this upon him, but a guy like Paul Skeens, you have to imagine that he's more than likely not going to make it through his entire career unscathed in that regard. So you combine that with the fact that with multiple facts. One, these guys are not going to be pitching into their 40s because, again, the game's getting younger. The turnover at that stage in guys' careers is going to, I would have to imagine, begin earlier. So you're not going to necessarily see these guys reach that stage of their careers. And then additionally, the way that the game is evolving, you're not going to see guys unless Major League Baseball steps in, which we talked about it a couple months ago, how they're proposing the idea of setting inning minimums for starting pitching. Mm-hmm. As it stands right now, though, with the way that the game values starting pitching, it's not the highest it's ever been. It's probably the lowest it's ever been. Yeah. As we see starters go shorter and shorter into games, as good as these guys are, like a Skeens, a Skubal, so on and so forth. Even I saw Wheeler and Nola mentioned in there as well. As good as these guys are, they're just not going to be able to amass the body of work. And it's not because of anything that they've done. They could go out and reach their quote unquote pitch or like their innings limit that their respective team has set for them. Say like they come in and say, Scoobs, we only want you going 7. Skeens, we only want you going 6 1/3. Even if they reach that mark every single time, they're not going to have. They're just not going to have the length of career that would allow for those types of numbers to help them reach those marks. So again, sort of big picture here, putting a bow on it. The strikeout top 10 list is soon going to be locked forever. And people say, well, everything is cyclical. Sure. But I would imagine it's not going to be once we sort of reach the end of this list of names that we talked about, Verlander, not Kershaw necessarily, but a guy like Garrett Cole. Once we reach the end of that list, it presumably is not going to be changing in our lifetime. Even if the game does evolve, comes back to valuing guys like this, it's not going to be in our lifetime. So for all intents and purposes, lists such as this, you mentioned the hits list, some other statistical categories, not going to be changing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just the way the game shifts. It makes me wonder what's crazy. I feel like the most reachable top 10 list is home runs because of how valued it is. It's kind of like in the NBA, how valued the 3-point is. Like the 3-point top 10 list, I'm not even going to look it up, but I would guess there's a lot of names that are in that category that have all been within the last 15, 20 years of playing in the NBA. So the majority of the names on that top 10 list are in that category. So I think that there could be, if you're going to continue to see baseball valuing the home run, I would say that list is probably the most reachable compared to some of these others.
You know who the closest active player is on that list to cracking the top 10 in home runs?
Without looking, active player?
Active player.
I'm trying to think. I feel like is it like an obvious one? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see
Ish.
I could see somebody overlooking this as they look to maybe more quote unquote obvious names.
I'm trying to think of like older hitters.
I'll give you a hint. He's on the outside of the top 50 looking in.
Outside of the top 50.
That's where we're at with that pursuit.
Outside of the top 50. I don't know why I'm struggling with this.
Plays for your team.
Stanton?
Giancarlo Stanton at age 34, 15 years in the league, has 429 home runs, currently sitting at 51st on the all-time home run leaders list.
Yeah. I think he broke in late, though, didn't he?
Well, 15 years.
He was 20.
Yeah.
But
after that, you got Mike Trout. Yes, I mean, it's really interesting to see.
I was going to say Mike Trout, by the way. That's where I was leaning.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see how some of these lists are going to be locked in for some time, because it is as likely as it is that the home run leaders list could change sooner than, say, some of these other stats. You have to remember, pitching is getting more difficult for hitters. Like, it's becoming more of a challenge. It's becoming better. It's becoming faster, and the league is having to make accommodations. You know, we go a few years back, they were throwing out the idea, oh, shall we move the mound back? Things like that. So as good as these hitters are, as impressive of feats as we're seeing from these guys, balls getting hit harder, farther. Pitching is also improving. It's also trending upwards. So, you know, all that to say, sort of rant over, but it's just interesting to see how the evolution of the game is affecting the trajectory of potential history being made. That's all.
Yeah. Going back to that home run conversation real quick, I was looking at Juan Soto. I was like, let's grab a young hitter who we know has hit a decent amount of home runs. Currently at 201. So he's averaging 35 home runs a year. So I was like, even if we keep that average and we give him 12 more years, because he's only 25, let's give him 12 more years of averaging 35 home runs a year, which is crazy. That would give him 621 at the end of his career.
Which would put him 8th behind Ken Griffey. Which
Maybe
is
not, man.
which is
that's
extremely
crazy.
impressive. But
That's
even
super
then,
impressive.
like you're just cracking the top 10, basically.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow.
Anyway, enough top 10 talk. I just wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive into that TikTok I put out, which, by the way, getting a little more active on TikTok. So a little shameless plug for that. If you're not
Yeah, you're
following,
still follow that.
go hit up the TikTok. Nate and I were actually just talking before we hopped on. I think we're gonna sort of make some tweaks to the type of content we're putting out there. We're finding a little bit of a groove on things that we want to put out there. So be on the lookout for some unique content that you're not going to necessarily find here on the podcast. But what you are going to find on this podcast are some drafts. But before we even get to that,
But
before we get to the draft, we got some quote.
Whose quote was this? Whose quote was this? Who said it? Whether it tastes like milk, whether it tastes like wine, we have to find out. Who said it? Was it Kyle or Nate? 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 Whose quote was this?
all right, buddy. This is tough. This is tough. New whiteboard, huh?
No, same
Same one. Didn't make the return.
Nah, wasn't worth it. It was like $5.
I'm going to give you a little context with this quote. And then I'll give you the episode and year after the quote. This is wild. We were talking.
I'm gonna turn this into. Sorry, not to interrupt. What's the Jeopardy? I'm gonna turn this into Jeopardy. I'm gonna write my answer
Okay, I like
and
it.
show it.
We were talking about top 25, under 25.
I remember this episode.
We're going Correa number 1. I'm keeping that.
Hold on. Is this the quote?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going Correa number 1. I'm keeping that. But yeah, looking at it, I got to keep Bregman at 2 and then Benintendi 3. So I'm bumping Walker Buehler. This is episode 41.
Oh, baby.
January 31st, 2019.
Wow. You want to talk about aging like milk?
Sending it back.
Well, it's not our fault. I mean, that was just the state
Yeah.
of baseball. Like Benintendi was a dude back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, Bueller too. Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, you stumped me on this one. I mean, I know all of these are always coin flips because
I
it's
know
literally
this was a tough quote because there was so much back and forth during this conversation. And so I tried to kind of keep it, but yeah, I wanted to try a little stumper out there.
wow.
We're going Correa number 1. I'm keeping that. But yeah, looking at it, I got to keep Bregman at 2 and then Benintendi 3. So I'm bumping Walker Buehler.
This sounds like a Nate quote.
Ding, ding, ding.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. Crazy though. Crazy.
And you said this was 19, so this would have been when?
Just to give you an idea, I if you want, I can kind of read through because I have the script from when we were reading it. Let me go back. Just crazy to see some of these names and like us not being totally in. So 25, Jose Peraza. 24, Brad Keller. 20, I think we kind of skipped past some names. I don't know. Oh, 23 was Shane Bieber. 22, Yohan Moncada. 21, Josh Hader. 20, Ian Happ.
God, Yohan Moncada, dude, that's a name that keeps me up at night.
I know. It's crazy that he fell off.
I would have loved for that to pan out.
19 was Harrison Bader. 18 was Miguel Andujar. 17 was Jack Flaherty. 16, Willie Adames. 15, Ozzie Albies. 14, Matt Olson. 13, Alberto Mondesi. 12, Gleyber Torres. 11, Jose Barrios. 10 was Benintendi. 9 was Shohei. 8 was Juan Soto.
Okay, now we're catching a little steam here.
7 was Herman Marquez. 6 Bueller. 4 Correa. 3 Bellinger. 2 Acuna. Then 1 was Bregman.
Wow.
Right? Isn't that
And
crazy?
if I recall, this wasn't our crafted list, right? Wasn't this in reference to
this
a list
was like
that had
an
come
actual,
out?
yeah, it came out. I think it was like MLB's. It was MLB's post.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Insane.
This is what our topic for the episode. So
That was the state of baseball.
yeah, wild, huh?
Look,
See how
man,
quickly the game can change. Like names on that list, I don't think we really understood Ronald Acuna quite yet, and we clearly weren't paying attention to Shohei enough yet because he had come in, but like we were still on that like Japanese Babe Ruth narrative.
I mean,
and we're like, I don't know if we're ready to give him that yet.
rightfully so, but
Yeah.
you know, he made it happen, and look at the narrative now.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, that's just a good reminder. We're not here to report. We're just here to react. We weren't putting that list out. We were just responding
right.
to what had been put out into the universe.
that's right.
Speaking of the universe, we've got quite a lot of names out there to pull from in this draft.
I love it.
On deck. It is the Rookies of the Year draft. I'm excited for this one, dude. There's some dudes in this one. So for this draft, the Rookies of the Year draft, we're choosing from all previous Rookie of the Year winners, otherwise known as the Jackie Robinson Award winners.
How are we doing positions?
How do you want to do this? Do we just want to go like name for name, or do we want to just like a traditional draft?
Yeah, how do we do this?
I feel like we just go straight up, and
Just straight
you
up.
can fill out. I mean, you'll still have to fill out a diamond for sure, but we don't need like a randomizer or anything like that. You just got to fill it out.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah. As far as positions go, do we have to like put them in the position they played that year?
I mean, we can leave it up for interpretation, but I mean, if a guy's an outfielder, if he's sort of known as an outfielder, you stick him in the outfield. But I mean, we can leave it up to the chat. You know,
Okay.
like if there's something that's sort of up for interpretation, we can leave it to the chat.
All right.
So if we're going traditional draft rules here, style, I should say, structure.
Mm-hmm.
Fill out a lineup. You got 3 outfielders, 4. Is that how you want to do it? 3 outfielders, 4 infielders, pitcher,
Yeah.
catcher, and a DH.
Yeah.
All right.
Then
So
you won, didn't you?
I did. I confirmed with the poll on the story. And I was able to come out victorious. So I'm back on top with that first pick. It's been a minute since I had that. In fact, I don't think I've had a first pick in these drafts since we started this recent round of drafts that we started a couple weeks ago. So this is new territory for me.
All right.
But with that said, My first pick. Oh, well, no. There's no way of knowing. I was gonna say the whole like war thing, top three thing. There's no way of knowing. But my first pick is going to be none other than the Say Hey Kid himself.
I cannot believe you were going to do that. I cannot believe you're going to do that. That's so annoying. I cannot believe I'm getting swooped the first freaking pick.
Oh, yeah, because there's no talent left. You're right. I mean, the rest of this
annoying.
List sucks. What are we talking about?
That's
Give me
so
Willie
annoying.
Mays
I hate you.
for my outfield. I mean, I think I just won the draft right there.
I hate you. You're so annoying. I get back-to-back picks.
Yeah, so, I mean, good. Enjoy having your second and third pick of these names. And I'll admit, like, there's a lot of names to pick from that it's very possible we may overlook somebody, but I'm going to do my best to ensure that doesn't happen, at least on my part.
Yeah.
I can't speak for you, but
I get back-to-back picks.
yeah, snake draft.
Derek Jeter and Cal Ripken Jr.
Wow.
That's a solid start,
Yeah.
you know?
Is it the best start that you could have had? Absolutely not. Just for clarification, are you going, who's your first pick of those two?
Jeter, just because it's me.
You're a Jeter guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What a fall off, I got to say. Willie Mays to Jeter. I think
Oh,
in terms of first picks. Yikes. All right, I'm going to go with my next Rookie of the Year pick. I am going to go Wait, so why am I forgetting this? So I get back-to-back picks now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, boy.
From here on out, it's just back-to-back picks.
Is that how it's always been with these drafts? Why do I not remember it being like that? Is that how we've done the last few drafts? Why does that not sound right?
It doesn't sound right.
Right? Am I crazy?
This is what two-person drafts does to you. It messes with your brain.
No, hold on. Wouldn't we? What the heck? Help me out here. What?
I don't think we always do back-to-back picks.
Wouldn't it just be flip-flop, like back and forth?
One would think.
But we've done back-to-back picks in these recent drafts. What?
I feel like it makes sense for me to have back-to-back picks after the first pick, right?
What is happening right now? Why? Like, we've done back-to-back picks before, like the snake draft,
Yeah.
and it made sense. But why is it not clicking right now? What happened? Let me look at the last draft we did.
I'll keep scrolling here.
Oh, you know what it was?
Hmm.
It was because it was a predetermined category. So you had to start the new category if you didn't the category before. So like for the state draft, you would start first on a state, and then I would get to start. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
So like if you like West Virginia, you started with George Brett, I went Bill Mazeroski. So I went second there, but then I started first on North Dakota.
The next one. So technically, yeah, it's no.
No, because this is a traditional draft. We're just alternating. Because
I think after
there's no
this.
category. No. I think it just goes back and
I think it's back and forth after this.
But why would you get back-to-back picks? It would just alternate.
Now it alternates.
I think you're making this up.
I am.
Can we figure this out though? Because this is, I mean, we're talking like the front of the draft here. So this is important because I mean, this is where it's won or lost here. No, dude, we're way overthinking this. It's just alternating. So you need to take off your Ripken pick.
That's messed up, man.
No, because I got first pick, you get second. No, we're way overthinking this. Think about it like you're selecting a team in backyard baseball. You make a pick, the other team makes a pick, you make a pick. So we're way overthinking this.
Am I taking Cal Ripken off because you're taking Cal Ripken?
No, I haven't even thought about that. I'm simply trying to figure out like
You've
whose
thought
turn
about
it is.
Right.
I have thought about it, but that's not who I'm picking.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, you're right. I'm absolutely taking
You're
Cal Ripken.
such a jerk, dude.
Cal Ripken with my second pick. Yeah, okay. So that makes me feel better. The only reason we're not doing snake draft is because there's not a predetermined category. We're just
Whatever, bro.
This is traditional. This is traditional draft order. What a steal! Cal Ripken out of Nate's grasp, just snatched.
It's just, I think it's rude, but you do you. You do you. I want Albert Pujols.
As your,
I don't know. See, that's what I'm asking. Because like back in the day, he was the left fielder.
well, okay, he's for this exercise, he's not a left fielder. He's either going to be your infielder
I'll
or
put
your
him in the
DH.
infield. I'll put him in the
Okay.
infield.
That's your second pick. I'm going to go with my next pick will be
It's like, it's legit like ranking 1A, 1B, 1C, 1C.
I mean, this
it's
is
like the
like
whole
one-
thing.
1Z.
Yeah.
Man. You know what's encouraging about this list? Is that more than not went on to have great careers.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really only seeing a couple flops here.
Yeah.
Give me
Like Giovanni Soto in 2008. Tough year for the NL that year, I guess.
Give me Dude,
Bro,
this
the
is
song's
tough.
over.
This is tough. Okay, I'm not going to overthink this. Give me Mike Trout in the outfield.
You're so annoying with this. You're so annoying.
Give me Mike Trout in the outfield.
The amount, I don't understand how you're doing this to me.
Here's the thing.
What's the thing?
The reason it took me so long is because there's still just a list of names available. So it's not as if I'm just leaving you with scraps, okay?
I have a preset order in my head of what I like.
You've got a draft queue.
Yeah. I got it queued up.
Not to influence the jury by any stretch, but I mean,
Yeah, this is the only thing you do is influence the jury the whole freaking time.
hey, you have every right to
I don't
share
think
your
so.
piece.
I don't think that's legal.
You have every right to share
I
your
think
piece.
it should be put out blindly. No name attached to it.
What does that matter?
Because maybe there's some favoritism happening.
Nate, the people love you. I don't know what you're talking about. Clearly, because if the favoritism exists, it exists for you. Because I've lost all but maybe a couple drafts since we've ever done drafts.
Whatever. Give me Shohei, DH.
Yep, I figured.
Just because I did not think he was going to make it back to me. That was my plan. It was Mike Trout, then Shohei.
Give me wow.
Stacked. The 90s are stacked.
Give me
Eric Karros in 92? What are we doing? .4 WAR?
Give me Jackie Robinson on my infield.
Sure. Not bad.
Man,
You have some classic names. Unfortunately,
I sure do.
I don't really.
Yeah. Yeah, lacking a little bit there. Wow.
I'll take
Man.
Pete Rose.
All right.
Outfield.
Putting him in your outfield?
Yeah.
Where was the what year was he? 63. Where's the breakdown
What you mean?
positionally? Just positionally.
For
'Cause
Pete Rose?
I mean, I know he was at first base a decent amount. I was curious.
Oh, just
to
like
see.
how much he played.
I was just curious to see. Why can I never find the positional breakdown?
You just got to go down a little bit further. Standard fielding.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe I need to put him in. He's all over the place.
No, I mean, I really don't care. You really could slot him in anywhere. I was just curious.
You really could.
So you putting him in the outfield?
Yeah, I'm putting him in the outfield.
All right, so that's your fourth pick. My fifth pick. I'm going to go some names on here. Give me
Marty Cordova, throwback
Marty
name.
Cordova.
Throwback name.
Give me, what do I need? What do I need here?
One outfield spot left. 2 infield spots left. And your DH.
And a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Give me man, I need give me Johnny Bench behind the dish.
Sure.
I don't like your dismissive tone.
Too bad. Deal with it.
Good luck searching for scraps behind the dish after Bench.
Yeah, Mike Piazza's a real bum.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the greatest of all time to not the greatest of all time. So, comparatively speaking,
man, oh man, do I want to pull the trigger on some guys.
you know, it'd be interesting. And in fact, I'm going to do this just because I made the note earlier about how more than not of this list went on to have great careers. I'm going to list out the career wars that these guys amassed and see what the discrepancy is.
I like that.
I'd like to see the before and after. Or not before and after, but results between the two.
Shout out 2001, man. Give me Ichiro in the outfield.
Oh, good pick. Good pick. I'm not going to lie. I don't even think I remember seeing him on here. Knowing
Isn't
that
there's like a weird header
Yeah,
that
it's like
separates 2001.
that's what it was.
Kind of
Yeah.
makes you scroll past.
All right, so that's
7.7 WAR that year. That's crazy.
dude, Mike Trout with a 10-5.
I know, is nuts. Yeah.
Give me I've got this draft in a chokehold right now.
I feel pretty good.
All right. Give me Man, this is tough. Wally Moon? No, that's not what I'm going with. 1954, Bob Grimm and Wally Moon classic.
Mhm.
Give me I'm going to put Give me Bryce Harper on my infield.
All right. I was curious on when that name was going to go for you.
That's
Give
my
me-
sixth pick.
Give me Tom Seaver on the bump.
Good pick. Good pick. I was keeping him in the hopper just in case he fell too late, but that's a good pickup. So that's your sixth pick. Oh, it's already back to me. Give me
right.
Give me Fernando Mania on the bump.
Okay. Respect. What year was that?
That was, where'd he go? 81.
81.
A 5.3 that year. Which I think it goes without saying, but I mean, we're taking these guys just like it goes beyond the scope of just their rookie year. Like I don't expect anybody to judge this through the lens of like, oh, how'd they do their rookie year? Because
I hear you on that argument.
does that make sense?
Sure. I'm going to hit you with a more recent name.
Who you got? Pulling the trigger here?
I think I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to put Aaron Judge in my outfield.
Okay. I mean, it's not your worst pick. So that's your 7th. All right. So we checking in here. I need an outfielder, an infielder, and a DH. You need 2 infielders
And a catcher.
and a catcher. All right. So an outfielder, an infielder, and a DH. That's easy enough. Let's see what we got left here. Give me You know what I'm about to do?
Mm.
Do you know what I'm about to do?
What are you about to do?
I'm literally going to win the draft right here.
You think?
And you know why?
Why?
Because I'm going to pull out from underneath you.
Don't piss me off because I got somebody.
I'm going to pull out from underneath you the aforementioned next best option for catcher. And I'm slotting him at my DH. I'm putting Mike Piazza at
That's
my
fine.
DH.
That's fine. You're just out here playing games. That's all.
No, I'm
good.
playing chess while you're playing checkers. Is what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
That's fine. I'm going to put Frank Robinson in my infield.
That's fine. Go ahead and put Buster Posey behind the dish.
That's solid. What's wrong with Buster Posey?
Nothing. Hey, no slander towards Buster Posey, but when we're talking about Johnny Bench and Mike Piazza on the same team,
a lot of slander
speaks for itself. All right, so you're putting
Frank Robinson in the infield.
So that leaves you with 1 infielder and a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I need an infielder and an outfielder. Give me. I mean, I'm playing with house money at this point. Let's see here. Who do I want to round out this team? That was a good pick, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned Frank Robinson.
Thank you.
I had
Thank
my
you.
eye on
I
him.
was surprised there wasn't more respect thrown my way for that.
No, for sure. I was just still riding high off the Piazza pick. Give me Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, don't it. No, stop. You don't even know. You don't even know. Give me Rod Carew on my infield.
Solid.
You need an infielder and a catcher. I mean, look, I don't want to gloat here, but do I even need to put the graphic out?
I feel there's nothing wrong with this team that I've got. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what we're doing.
There's nothing wrong with your team, but if you just look across the way here, I mean, stacked. I had a 3,000
Yeah,
hit.
because you swooped 3 names from me that were absolutely going to be picked.
I had a
It's all about just who went first.
I had a 3,000 hit guy in Rod Crew as my 9th pick, my second to last pick. If that doesn't win a draft, I don't know what does. Did Rod Crew ever see time out in the outfield? Barely. 1978.
Solo time.
Huh? Yeah.
Solo time. All right. All right. Well, maybe just to buy myself a little bit more time. Oh, I'm back and forth between 2 names. I just because of the number of rings and success, I am going to put Buster Posey behind the dish, but Thurman Munson was a hard consideration. Cut short, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you gotta play to the voter, and while I'm sure there's a percentage of people that would appreciate the Thurman Munson vote,
Yeah.
I feel like you got to go recency bias here. So that's your 9th pick. My 10th and final pick, needing an outfielder. I'm going to go.
I think I know.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go. Can I put him out there? Can I put him out there? Oh, shoot.
Can't do it. You trying to squeeze something in?
Actually,
to
no.
force something?
If we're following our rules, he is listed as such. Is that
It's
fair?
listed. It's cool.
Give me, with 521 career home runs, a Hall of Famer, an MVP, and obvious Rookie of the Year. For my final outfield spot, give me Willie Lee McCovey.
Respect.
My goodness. My goodness. Wow, what a day.
This was all about who goes first.
It really wasn't.
It really was. Willie Mays. Come on. And I don't think you would have. Would you have gone Cal pick number 2 if I didn't immediately go Cal pick number 2? Be honest.
He was, I'll say this. He was not going to fall lower than 3 for me. He was either going to be my 2nd or 3rd pick. It was either going to be Willie and then maybe Trout and then Cal. But he was not, I mean, it wasn't like I climbed the board to get him. He was going to be there one way or another for me.
Yeah. It's going to be my 2nd. And you knew that. That changed the whole
thing.
But
I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear the whole, it's all about who went first when you literally went with Jeter as your first pick.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but like,
number 4 on the list of top 10 hits of all time.
I get it, but like,
5 rings.
You could have made the argument. In fact, it's probably not much.
I probably could have got him later.
Yeah, like you could have went with like a Pujols, for example, off the top, and that would have been a better fit, I think, for a first pick. But you went Jeter, so
it's kind of a drop off for the infield.
The whole going first thing kind of goes out the window.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to go Willie Mays. I didn't think you were going to scroll down.
Didn't think I was going to go Willie Mays.
I thought you were just going to get stuck.
My GOAT? You didn't think I was going to go Willie Mays?
I didn't. There's a bit of a drop off in the infield.
Would you have snagged McCovey if he was still on the board?
Probably not, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I guess I just didn't really think numbers with McCovey. I didn't really.
Yeah, that's more.
Because that's like a surprise name that I don't think most people are like 521 home runs. You know?
Yeah, that's going to be one of those picks where, like, if you know ball,
if you know ball,
that's a good pick. But yeah. I will admit, there was probably a sexier pick I could have gone with. Probably certainly sealed the deal, but
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Oh man, well, I guess there's not much point in holding out much longer. I still think I got a good team, by the way, but I don't think I'm going to get too much love for it. Let me just confirm. I don't think I'm going to get a ton of love for it because I liked him. He was one of my favorites to watch. So if you don't agree, I don't care. I'm gonna round it out with Scott Rowland in the infield.
All right, Hall of Famer. There you have it. All right, so recapping the draft here in order. Kyle with Willie Mays, Nate with Derek Jeter. Second pick, Kyle with Cal Ripken. Second pick for Nate, Albert Pujols. Third pick for Kyle, Mike Trout. Third pick for Nate, Shohei Ohtani. Fourth pick for Kyle, Jackie Robinson. Fourth pick for Nate, Pete Rose. Fifth pick for Kyle, Johnny Bench. Fifth pick for Nate, Ichiro Suzuki, otherwise known as Ichiro. Sixth pick for Kyle, Bryce Harper. Sixth pick for Nate, Tom Seaver. Seventh pick for Kyle, Fernando Valenzuela. Seventh pick for Nate, Aaron Judge. Eighth pick for Kyle, Mike Piazza. Eighth pick for Nate, Frank Robinson. Ninth pick for Kyle, Rod Carew. Ninth pick for Nate, Buster Posey. And final pick for Kyle, Willie McCovey. And final pick for Nate, Scott Rowland. I'm excited to pick first for whatever draft we do next. We do next time.
I'm sure.
Hey, here's your chance to influence the jury. You were saying.
I mean, this. That's why I started just going newer. Just started going a little newer. That's why Aaron Judge happened. That's why Buster Posey happened. Just started going for the newer, younger listener out there who maybe is new to ball and is preferring to vote on a team that they've all, for the most part, watched.
No disrespect towards any of these other names, to any of these names, because obviously, I mean, to win a Rookie of the Year in baseball is impressive in and of itself. But some names in particular that maybe you could raise some questions on. Ronald Acuna Jr. being left off the list.
I thought you might have gone there. I thought that's who I thought you were doing for instead of McCovey.
It was either McCovey or Acuna. Let's see. Who's the other one? Mark McGwire, depending upon how you feel about that, got left off the list. Nomar Garcia Parra, another name.
Pedroia.
Jeff Bagwell.
Dontrell Willis. It's a good name.
Yeah, I mean, the
Kerry
list.
Wood.
Darryl Strawberry. The list goes on. Eddie Murray was still left on the
Eddie Murray
list.
was a consideration for me. Dwight
Wow.
Gooden. Yeah. Lou Whitaker. Some good names on here. Good names. Carlton Fisk.
Some names on here. Anyway, another draft in the books. If the offseason continues to be this slow, you're going to get a lot more draft let's just call it like it is. You're going to get a lot of draft content from us moving forward until the season starts anyway, but we might get a little weird with these drafts if things continue to progress.
I didn't mind this, but I do like the categories. I think the categories throw in wrenches versus just an outright draft that it's
agree. Yeah, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. I like some categories that I think we got to add in.
Sometimes you got to try something new to know what you really like, and I think you're right. I think we do like the snake style category randomizer type draft. So we'll keep that in mind moving forward. But I will I'll work on getting this graphic out, get the poll out there, and let people vote. But I think we already know the result. But anyway, that's all I really got. Unless you got anything else for the folks.
Oh, hit the merch on the shop. Link in bios. These jerseys, they're actually it's quality made. This is a nice jersey. So if you just want something casual, respect, throw it on. Someone asks you what's up. This lid is top tier. This is a top tier lid. So Kyle rocking the rope hat. There's a lot of options out there. The drip has been turned up a notch in the recent present. So
classic. Recent present.
Yep. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. What does the hat say? Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay fit.